to endeavor to collect your
Former President Olusegun Obasanjo gave political parties a lot to talk about this week after he openly endorsed Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi. The People's Democratic Party are one of the parties that seem disappointed by his latest endorsement of Obi due to the relationship the former president had with the presidential candidate of the party, Atiku Abubakar. However, since Obasanjo's endorsement of Obi became public, the PDP responded saying that the former president's opinion does not reflect the position of the overwhelming majority of Nigerians across the country, because the party's presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, is the most acceptable of all the candidates. However, Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State has said that the endorsement of Peter Obi over Atiku Abubakar for the 2023 presidential election by Obasanjo calls for worry over the fate of the People's Democratic Party. Joining us on the show this morning to discuss if this endorsement affects the party's chances is Daniel Bwala, spokesperson at Atiku Okowa Presidential Campaign Council. He would also be discussing the pending issue around the G5 governors within the PDP. Welcome to the morning show.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Daniel Bwala, and Happy New Year. Well, you've been quoted in the media as saying that President Olusegun Obasanjo, endorsing the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, is looking for a third term by proxy. How? He's not a candidate in the election, and as a citizen, even if he's an elder statesman, he has a right to express an opinion. He has a right to say this is where he stands in the matter. So how does that translate into seeking a third term by proxy?
Well, good morning. Thank you for having me. Ordinarily, I haven't made my position and granted interview. My intention was never to discuss Olusegun Obasanjo, the elder statesman. But since the question has come, it is also imperative that I respond to the question. The premise behind my position is, it stemmed from the very content of the letter and my interpretation of a particular statement in that letter, which when he said that Peter Obi is like a pin with a thread and can always be dragged. I now decided to look at that and look at the history, his checkered history of interventions, engagement, and participation since 2007. And I juxtaposed that with other elder statesmen, former presidents like him. And I came to the realization, because even in 2019, when he endorsed Atiku, I was on the other side. I criticized the premise. The thing repeated itself again. And this is the premise. Disclosure, good faith, is very important in every of your dealings. It is a code in journalism. It's a code in law practice. It's a code in most professional engagement. And the reason why disclosure is important is that the idea is, in order for us not to deceive the innocent, either bystanders, viewers, members of the public, or Nigerians, is that once you are able to give a good faith disclosure of the premise from where you're coming from, it gives them that independent thought of making up their mind whether to take it as an objective analysis or position, or that it is based on partisanship or interest or anything. Now, Olusegun Obasanjo, as a former president and elder statesman, is someone I respect very dearly. And I felt that was wrong, is because if you look at the content of the letter, he did not disclose the fact that, one, he is strongly behind the coupling together of the Obi-Dati movement. And I know as a person, because 5 months ago, he contacted me and wanted to draft me into the movement. But respectfully, I did not go, because I didn't think that if I left APC because of the same free ticket and I want to ensure APC does not win, I should join a party that I do not think that has the realistic chance of defeating APC. So I thought that he will, in that letter, say, for the records, I stand with this person, this is my position and all. But the character of the message in the letter is suggestive of this fact that he speaks as an elder statesman who is unbiased, who comes from an objective point of view. So we felt that is wrong. And it doesn't matter whoever he endorses, even if he were to endorse Atiku today, but fail to disclose the fact that, okay, I support Atiku, so that the reading mind will know, I would take the same objective view, or rather objection to that. That is point number one with regards to it. But Another one is this idea of coming as a prophet of doom. It's okay for you to say, I choose A over B. But when you go to the point of giving the impression that if A is not chosen, these are the likely consequences of that decision, to me, that is very improper. Because when it comes from a statement like him, it can have a ripple effect in the country.
All right, thank you, Mr. Boala. So yesterday we had the spokesperson for the Tinubu Shetima Presidential Campaign Council, Festus Keyamo, and he said that this endorsement, or perhaps a vote for Mr. Peter Obi, is in favor of their presidential candidates, because then it means that your party is losing out on that. I'd like you to respond to that in terms of the fact that the popularity, or the increasing popularity of the Labour Party candidate is a disadvantage to your party and to your candidate. And also side by side that beyond former President Olusegun Obasanjo's endorsement is the endorsement of your PDP, one of your PDP governors, Governor Samuel Ortom of Benue State, who said that, in fact, he wouldn't have minded going around the nation campaigning for Mr. Peter Obi. I'd like to hear your view on this.
Okay, so first with what the other fellow for APC, Festus Keyamo, said. Actually, Festus Keyamo, I was sent his video, and when I played it, I couldn't help but laugh, because he was trying to use what we call reverse psychology. And in fact, it even what he was trying to do found its way in the topic for the YouTube video that was uploaded by Arise News. And this is his position, that Peter Obi is the main reason why Tinubu will win. And he built his narrative around the fact that Peter Obi was with PDP, Peter Obi's followers are PDP members and the rest, and he continued on that wild goose chase. But this is my argument. Actually, Peter Obi is the reason why Atiku will win the election against APC. And this is the premise. The candidate of APC is from the southwestern extraction of this country. It is expected, without prejudice, and this is being realistic, that he is to garner first majority of his votes from the southwesterners. And then, depending on his capacity over the years in interacting and engaging with Nigerians, he will mop up other votes from the other parts of the country. Because if you have to be a witness, you have to be a witness first in Jerusalem, before Judea, Samaria, and the rest of the world. But now, I am a pastor of a Pentecostal church, and the founder of my church is from the southwest. The second in command is from the southwest, who called me personally and told me that then I was in APC, if I continue on that, the same fate ticket will mean that they are going to massively turn away from Tinubu. I discussed that while I was in APC with one of the key people. And this is what is happening over the years. Majority of the votes of Peter Obi are coming from the Christian demographic. It's a fact. That is why Peter Obi jumps from one church to the other. The church that is pro, the church that is against, in every Christian gathering, trying to mop up the sentimental vote that is coming from there. In Nigeria today, 80% of the founders of Pentecostal churches in Nigeria are from the southwest, and they are also leaders in some of the Orthodox churches, in fact, major Orthodox churches in Nigeria. If these people toe on the path of either Atiku or Peter Obi, the biggest loser is the candidate of All Progressives Congress, who comes from the southwest extraction. And this argument I'm saying is what I have personally engaged with a lot of religious leaders, and I heard the majority of which are from the southwestern extraction. That is case number one. Case number two, Peter Obi's movement has attracted certain consideration from some quarters in Nigeria that tend to inflame another quarter. So, for example, those who keep advising him to go from one church to another fail to realize that when you are canvassing to become a national leader, you must not be seen taking a position with a particular faith or particular group, because it will inflame the other group. So word in the street is that majority of the APC supporters who come from the northern extraction see that, and I'm not saying that's my position, but they see that as a calculated religious agenda. And because of that, they are all trooping to vote for Atiku. And then you can see other consideration that an interpretation that people will give to it. If you want to factor his argument, you must also bring this argument and put them on the evidence of weight. And I think that our argument is working because This Day newspaper came up with a projection, which so far has not been controverted, that PDP is in a pole position because of their findings. And although we disagree with some points in This Day, but largely we believe because their projections were based on reality rather than scientific 419 that we are seeing in some of the online polls.
Okay. My very good friend and brother Daniel Bwala, politics.
I'm ready for you.
You say you're ready. Politics. Arguments.
Well, that should be a line from our husband has gone mad again.
Yeah.
Politics. Bomi ayelo biojo. Politics. That's from Olaruchimi.
Arguments are counter arguments good in our favor. Now the polls favor you. It's a good poll. If it does it's otherwise. I know.
I can prove it to you. I can prove to you.
Daniel, is you now. It's fine. Don't worry.
No. Let me.
You don't need to prove it. Let me ask my question. You don't need to prove it to me.
Okay,
go ahead. Just rest. In 2015, Olusegun Obasanjo endorsed the APC. President Muhammadu Buhari wrote this same letter. Most of you people in the APC called him elder statesman that time. In 2019, he did the same for the PDP. Most people in the PDP called him elder statesman that time. Oh, it was the best thing. But now, all of a sudden, it's Labour, it doesn't favor the APC, the PDP. After all of you went visiting him, he has committed the gravest crime on earth. He doesn't have the interest of the country at heart and all of that. My question here is this not all the sour grapes of politics again, rather than introspecting and looking at the problems he highlighted on ground? And you also make the argument, yes, that all of this will favor your candidates. Because, yeah, Peter Obi is tilting towards the Christian crowd. A lot of people are saying Atiku Abubakar should balance it out. I put it to you, are you not playing that same religious politics that is dividing the country? Because you just fan the embers of this. I'm sure Peter Obi has met with Muslim leaders. But you just put in that position as a word on the streets and as a subtle political argument is just fanning that embers of discord, which a lot of people say we should look beyond. What are your two takes?
So let me start with the second one and go to the first one. This, your second point, is not a question. It's a counter argument, which I do not think that given the nature of your TV show, you are supposed to make that comment, because when you make such, then you allow me to counter that. That's number one. If you made an interpretation from what I said, you did not join what I said with what another person says or fact check me to say what I said is right or wrong. That is my response to the first one. And I'll be happy to engage if you want me to argue with you on that.
Yeah, let's engage further on that if you have the time. I think we'd like to engage further, because at first, Daniel Bwala, in having a conversation on television, there's a balancing. And the grand scheme of putting a religious slant to it is to be able to nucleate people based on that. Because, and I'm going to fact check you, go and check. There are instances where Peter Obi has met with Muslim leaders. So your argument that is going from one church to another was not balanced empirically. And you can fact check me on that. I am sure that since the start of this campaign, there will be times you will have met with Muslim leaders. Not necessarily.
So this is where you're exposing, in my view, your biases, because as a journalist, if you say you are sure Peter Obi has said it and you cannot state it because you are in a pole position based on your experience to bring facts and not conjecture. You are sure Peter Obi has met with Muslims, it's a conjecture unless you can say on this day or in this event, which must be in public sphere. In my own argument, Peter Obi has gone to my church in Shiloh. Peter Obi has gone to Holy Ghost Convention. Peter Obi has gone to Mountain of Fire. These are facts that are verifiable, that have gone round, and people have seen it. Where is the premise you're coming from? Peter Obi's engagement with religious. Let me finish, please.
Okay, finish.
Because let me finish. Where is your premise on that? That's number one. And number two, the lady there, the beautiful lady, I must say, ask me the question regarding...
She's married, please. She's married, please. Stop admiring another man's wife.
It doesn't take away her beauty.
She's married.
It doesn't take away the beauty. So what I'm saying is that she asked me that the spokesperson for APC was on this show where he gave his own narrative to suggest that Peter Obi is a damage to us and a plus to them. Then I now said it's a reverse psychology because Peter Obi is actually a damage to them and a plus to us. And I gave the premise. The premise I gave, how is that inflaming religious sentiment? How is that instilling religious problem? Have you ever seen me in any religious gathering promoting, even when my church had a program earlier in the year on political issue where to canvass, the church made it clear that we are not taking a position with any political party. People speak on the basis of qualities and conviction. That is where I stand. The idea that people jump from one church to the other, let me see whether next year he's going to come to Shiloh. And that is the same thing he did as a governor in Anambra. He used the divide and rule strategy. It is his characteristic, where he divided the Catholics with the Anglican and made the Catholics seem like they are number one citizen and Anglican number two citizen.
No, Dr. Abati, I have a quick response to Daniel Bwala. You can go and check, and like I said, I fact-check you. I won't check you. No, hang on a minute. Daniel, chill now. I fact-check you. On the 17th of October, Peter Obi went to visit Muslim cleric Sheikh Gumi. It's out there in public clear. That's the fact you needed. Daniel Bwala, my very good friend. Happy New Year.
You just mentioned one, but Peter Obi has been to more than 9 Christian religious leaders.
Can we move away from this and go on to something else? Okay, because this is not an argument. We're just having a conversation with you. Now, let me ask you, this is your matter with Kasim Afegwa, who is a spokesperson for the All Progressives Congress. Now, he challenged you to prove the point you made that there are 11 APC governors supporting your presidential candidate and 35 senators supporting your presidential candidate, Waziri Atiku Abubakar. And then you turned around, you said Kasim Afegwa is a mercenary, that you know, his position is far beneath yours. And then I think he also responded to you. He says you are a quack spokesperson. But can you address the substance of that altercation between the two of you? Are there APC governors that are supporting the PDP presidential candidate and APC senators that are supporting the PDP presidential candidate? And to what advantage for you to have brought it up?
Yes, actually, you mix the sequence of the facts. I was shown a report given by him by a journalist to react to it that he said 3 governors of the All Progressives Congress met with Atiku in Dubai. I was confronted with that to respond. And then in my reply, which is in the media space, I said that is false. There is no 3 governors that visited Atiku in Dubai. But I can authoritatively tell I was telling the journalist, I can authoritatively tell you, as at first week of December, we have 11 governors of the All Progressives Congress and 35 or 37 senators and 15 House of Rep members that are already working for us. Then Kasim Afegwa now replied and insulted me. And then in my reply, I now said, oh no, in the first one, when they said this is what he said, that in the same article, he insulted me. Then I now say, look, I am not going to engage with him because he's a mercenary that is used for what we call nuisance value. Otherwise, having come out of PDP as a spokesman, ordinarily, if they consider him, they would have made him a spokesman. And I stopped there. Then he now replied, calling me Rottweilers and the rest. And by the time the journalist came back to me, I now told the journalist, look, as a lawyer, I'm a journalist. And I know this thing is good for your reportage. But the thing is that Kasim Afegwa is not a spokesman in the campaign. I'll be denigrating my campaign to be responding to somebody who is not a spokesman. But when they make him a spokesman, I will have time for him. But at the moment, I am busy. What is the big deal about that? Now, with respect to the governors, I think even my son, who is about 4 years, in his foolishness, cannot come on air to be mentioning the names of people who are assets to you on the other side. Even in international intelligence and everything, can you imagine you are talking about your agents in foreign countries? It's not possible. But I will tell you the effect, because if you take something that is cause and effect, I'll tell you the effect of the support that they are giving us. In virtually most of the campaigns that APC have had in the North Central and in the Northwest, the crowd were gathered by them. But each time they chanted Nigeria, you will hear a rancorous response, say Atiku. Now, the question to ask is, did they bring the people to chant for Atiku? Number two, it is not people from one side. It is from the entire crowd. You hear that response. To the point now, because we made a case out of it and said that even the people who go for them, they support the local governors, but on presidential, they took a position for Atiku. So what they did was, in Kano yesterday, they refused to chant Nigeria. So this is the premise on which I can tell you the effect of what we are already gaining, but I can never put the identity of the people. I will not even give you the indication that will link to them. But you are seeing it. If you ask APC, they will tell you these facts that are not deniable, Mr. Abati, that number one, their campaign at the moment is having a deep problem. There is a distrust between three sets of people: the party, the governors, and the people they consider the cabal of the candidate. Non-supply of funding for the work, he not trusting them. Even when they came to London to meet with the G5 that you call, they did not succeed in the meeting. So if on the evidence of broader view of this campaign, we are in a commanding lead. And you can imagine, as we're making our closing argument in this campaign, then I will now be responding to somebody that the party did not consider him worthy enough to be a spokesman when he was a spokesman in another campaign. And now I don't have time for that. I focus on real issues.
All right, Mr. Bola, so you're admitting that there was a meeting between the G5 governors and Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu because this has been...
No. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. I thought you were referring to Atiku. Yes, there was a meeting. They met here in London in Kensington.
All right. So since you brought up the G5 governors, then let's talk about that. You're talking about the APC's, issues in the party, but the PDP itself has had these internal wranglings for months, and there seems to be no workable solution, at least thus far. I talked about the fact that one of your governors, the PDP governors, Samuel Autumn of Benue State, had spoken out in support of Mr. Peter Obi of the Labour Party. Also, Governor Nyesom Wike has emphatically said that he would not be supporting your presidential candidate. There have been conversations to try to meet middle ground. Nothing is happening there. So these problems in the PDP are said to be distracting from your presidential candidate's bid towards the presidency. I'd like you to speak about that. And whilst you're talking about that, please talk about the fact that in Bauchi, we spoke about this a few days back, there were bags of rice in which bore the face of the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, with the logo of your party, the PDP. Underhanded, campaign tactics?
Well, let me do with the Bauchi and then come back. First of all, that is not true to have emanated from us. And why I'm saying that is because if you go to Bauchi now, maybe the news people are even reporting that the governor of Bauchi is with the G5. So could he be behind that? Certainly no. And then I'll come back to the second question, which is very important. Now, in the past 5 months, you have seen masquerade dances, you have seen melodramatic events, you have seen flights around the world, you have seen meetings and upon meetings. But 5 months later, a projection by this day says that PDP is in a lead. Then that means there is something about PDP. It's like an idea whose time has come. There's nothing you can do to stop it. Now, one of the reasons why, in fact, the meeting in London didn't pull through was that allegedly, the demands that the G5 came with could not be accommodated given the fact that the damage they thought they were capable of doing has not happened. After 5 months, Atiku Okoya will still be considered as leading. Now, we have made concerted effort to reconcile, and the doors are still open. There is no part of the structure of this party that has not engaged with Wike and the group with a bid to reconcile. One of their demands was that the EOCHIU must resign. I will go through this part where we outline the reasons why, unless on his own part, nobody can ask him to resign. He is elected by the party, and there were constitutional provisions and guidelines that led to his emergence as the chairman of the party. Now, that movement has not damaged us. That movement has not reduced our followership. In fact, they have not expanded beyond the number, the nucleus of that campaign. And the more time went by, people are now coming to realize that the campaign is not actually about equity, fairness, and justice, but it's about interest aggregation and interest factoring. Now, even if you have an interest, you can sit in a political party and negotiate. But this stop Atiku by all means target an agenda. My sister, it is not working, because if you look at what is happening from the domestic point of view, from the international point of view, from the political party point of view, even from the kind of support we are getting from the other opposing side, it is really clear to everybody that Atiku is destined by the grace of God to win this election, since the election is going to be decided by the people, the masses, based on beavers. Let me tell you, we are doing concerted grassroots work and communicating the simple message to the Nigerian people. There is no way Nigerians will vote APC, having seen what they've gone through the past 7 months. There is no way Nigerians should consider voting Peter Obi, because he does not have the acumen and the wherewithal to govern a nation at a time of crisis like this. Even when Baba Obasanjo released the letter, those attributes that he gave TVCF or something like that, and by the way, TVC is a television house of Asiwaju. Now, even when he gave those criteria, we followed on those issues. And on the evidence of all of the issues, Peter Obi cannot be said to be someone with a track record. Is it not the Peter Obi, when he was governing, that there were strikes in his government and he didn't bother? Is it not the Peter Obi that instead of focusing on infrastructure, he put the money of the state in a Fidelity Bank, the bank to which he was a chairman and a shareholder, conflict of interest? Is it not Peter Obi that when the Panama Papers came and exposed the very fact that he did not comply with the code of conduct of Nigeria, that the public officer should disclose if he has any asset anywhere? He admitted to Premium Times that he did not, because he thought that there is no law to that effect. Is it not Peter Obi that used Catholic against Anglican? Is it not Peter Obi, in fact, who started ethnic profiling in Nigeria when he asked the northern people in Anambra to identify themselves by certain sickness? No governor in this country, in their wildest imagination, have done ethnic profiling. Is it not Peter Obi who failed to conduct local government elections and misappropriated the funding that is made for that? So where is the track record that Obasanjo was talking about? Where is the clear vision? Is it not the consumption to production philosophy is a rhetoric? He is the very opposite of that. He's one of the leading consumers, consumption economic driven business that he does in Nigeria. So where is he? He has been lying to people every day. I wear Marks and Spencer, I wear this. I met with Peter Obi in Louis Vuitton in Heathrow Terminal 5 in 2017. Peter Obi has a house in London, has a house in Abuja, has a house in South Africa. He has it in Lagos, allegedly in America.
Daniel, let me push on this question. I mean, good political zinging, you know. Drink some water, my friend. Drink some water. Some tea, all right? Drink some tea, my friend, and calm it down.
Are you a supporter of Peter Obi?
Hang on a minute. Hang on a minute.
Aggressively? Why do you feel palpable when I make position regarding Peter Obi?
Oh, Daniel.
You are palpable.
Daniel, hang on a minute. Just cool down. So my last question for you is this: a lot of Nigerians are asking. It's a good thing, you know. You left the APC.
Who of the Nigerians?
Hang on a minute.
Let me tell you the difference between mainstream journalism
and clickbait
journalism. You see, when Abati asked me questions, Abati mentioned people. He mentioned events. When the gentle lady asked, he mentioned people and events. The idea of people are saying that, mention them.
Daniel, you won't let me speak. Just hang on a minute. I know it's your attack game now. It's not you. Go away. So let's go straight to it now. Real quickly, the zeitgeist is you left the APC because of Muslim tickets, which you feel was not good, was abhorrent, was not justice. Do you think it will be justice that after 8 years of President Muhammadu Buhari, power should remain in the north? That's my question to you.
And the answer is very simple, sir. I left APC because of the Muslim ticket, because it does not portend diversity. But I left APC as a party. I did not dictate for the activities of PDP. When I joined PDP, I discovered that PDP is not a branch of APC. It's an independent political party with similar agenda to acquire power. And based on the constitution of PDP, even their equitable narrative, they looked at how many people within the party that produced president, how long it lasted, and based on that conclusion, that did not even get up to that, assuming you're talking about equity and fair play. But secondly, they said that the party is governed by laws and that they follow the legal procedure. Even the person who is the advocate and champion of the equity, fairness, and justice has so far shown that he is the very opposite, because in his state, you don't see equity, fairness, and justice. The chairman of the party and the candidate of the party come from the same senatorial zone. The rector, the vice chancellor, everybody from one side equally. And he has applied the same principle in almost all the states where PDP are, having strong foundation. Wreck all of these places because he was trying to build structure. So let us take away the argument, that the innocent argument on fairness, and then interest, using argument as an agenda.
And my
conclusion in your answer.
Yes. Right. Conclusion. What's your conclusion in the answer? Is it fairness or not?
My conclusion is that Muslim ticket is not fair. But my conclusion is that PDP haven't followed the constitutional provision of their party and arrived at where they have arrived in. In any case, Buhari is not a member of PDP. You cannot make that application.
Okay, so what you're saying,
what in law we call inapplicable.
Okay, so you're saying is after 8 years of power in the north, power should remain in the north, and that's fairness for you. Thank you so much, Daniel.
No, don't let him go yet. Okay. You are not going yet. Now, you said a lot.
Mr. Abati, you can see Rufai, you can see what is planning.
No, there's something you need to clarify. You said a lot about President Obasanjo's endorsement of Peter Obi, right? Or P2B, as some people call him. P2B, as some people call him. Now, it's not only President Obasanjo that endorsed him. Chief Ike Clark also did so. Governor Samuel Otom also commended him and barely stopped short of saying he will vote for him, but he said he's a man that is required. So what is the special crime that President Obasanjo has committed? Because he's not alone in endorsing Peter Obi. Yeah. So if, as you said, Peter Obi is a failure, why expend so much energy on him? You could just ignore him and focus on your candidate.
Yes, we would have ordinarily ignored him, but when the press bring us, they will throw the fact at our face and they will tell us we have to react. Yeah, that's the reason we do. Peter Obi is inconsequential. I maintain the position he can't win more than 3 states in the entire election. But with respect to Pat Clark, you can see that nobody joined issues with Pat Clark. Do you know why? Pat Clark maintained a position without threatening the country. Pat Clark, everybody knows, does not identify with any political party. So people see him as an elder statesman expressing an opinion. But if Pat Clark, for example, from the foundation has been assembling the team for Peter Obi and now comes to say something, then people will tell him, but Pat Clark, you are partisan. If you want us to take objective analysis, then you have to show that you are not partisan. That is about that one. Now, with respect to the rest of the people, let me tell you, there is even intelligence, Dr. Abati. There are 3 more personalities that are going to endorse Peter Obi. They actually arranged it that at the beginning of the January, they will be making those endorsements to kill the energy. But an idea whose time has come, nothing you can do to stop it.
Okay, thank you very much, Daniel Boala.